Hello, my name is Mikhail, aka MJL90 on the internet, and today I wanted to talk about the YouTube channel The Actman and a troubling tweet I saw a while ago from him. The tweet in question was from last year amid the mass protests resulting from police brutality and the deaths of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and unfortunate many others. Quote, "Yo, what's happening in Seattle right now is totally fucked up. We have a section of downtown taken over by protesters who have established anarchy rule. Ironically enough, these people and what they stand for, anarchy, is a bigger threat to America than the police are." End quote. There is a lot wrong with this statement and this mindset as a whole, but to some it may not be immediately apparent why. Even though I strongly disagree with him here, he is technically correct on a very small technicality. Violent, nonsensical protesting and destruction of property can be detrimental to the progress and change people try to make and the injustices they are fighting against during difficult times like these. However, there's a lot of nuance and straight up ignorance as to some of the reasons why these protests got as out of hand as they did. I'm going to try my best to dissect this tweet and explain why this way of thinking is dangerous for an online community and disheartening as a whole. During the police brutality protests of 2020, a vast majority of said protests were, in fact, peaceful. In the description, there will be links to back up this statement as well as many of the other statements and points I make throughout this video, so feel free to check those out. In the event protests did turn violent, it was almost always, and I'm talking about 90% of the time here, it was almost always started by the police, not the protesters. The police started the shit. The protesters did not. It is your right to protest as an American. You can do that. As long as it's not violent, you're not hurting anyone or destroying anything, you can do that. It was the police who actively antagonized the protesters to start a riot. Actively did it. So the quote, "these people and what they stand for, anarchy, is a bigger threat to America than the police are," is literally wrong. In addition to this, a lot of the discussion during these protests focused on the destruction of property and destroying/defacing communities. Let's talk about the latter first. Despite what you think, Target isn't a community, Walmart is not a community, corporations are not your friends and family. They're not communities. In fact, corporations play no small part in making sure that their fake and heavily advertised way of life takes over whatever sense of actual community a city or town currently has. They have help too. Towns and cities will stumble over themselves and trample their own people to make sure these corporations feel welcome no matter where they set up shop, actively bulldozing entire neighborhoods and making life a living hell for whoever is deemed undesirable. People weren't destroying their communities. They were protesting the fact that their communities have actively been hunted and destroyed with frightening ferocity, and what was set up in their place further enforces that you people aren't welcome here. Let's circle back around to the destruction of property thing next. With a majority of the property that was destroyed and looted belonging to large corporations. This was something that the major news outlets, on both sides of the aisle, mind you, really honed in on. Now, why is that? Well, events like this make for easy, attention-grabbing, fear-mongering news and headlines. Keeps you tuned into the news and their channels. Another factor is that major news outlets rely on advertisements from said big corporations to pay the bill, so naturally, news outlets, whether directly or indirectly, receive pressure to spin the news in certain ways to appease the corporations that, pay their bills and whatnot. And this is where I personally start to get really frustrated with the whole situation. How screwed up is America that we value corporations and stores, things, more than, actual human life. That's pretty fucked up. It just is. I personally, think a person is more valuable than a fucking store. Yeah, that's just me though, I guess. I don't support the violence or destruction. Under ideal circumstances, every protest would be peaceful, and there wouldn't be a need to take things further until it turns into a riot. However, America has made it crystal fucking clear that not only will peaceful protests be ignored, they will be misconstrued and manipulated. America will make it seem like the people protesting, mind you, for a very valid and legitimate cause, are nothing more than savages, rabid animals looking to cause death and destruction. This is going to be further from the truth in all reality. America wants the protesters to be grateful that they're even given a chance to protest at all. In their perfect world, they would have the protesters do all their activities at the back of the bus, and quietly too. Neither seen nor heard, like the good little Negroes you are. To wrap things up, I did initially respond to the Actman's tweets. I didn't get a response from him, but rather unfortunately, and not unexpected, I got to receive a very fun series of tweets from a white supremacist. Now, first off, if your online community is in any way, shape, or form a gathering place for hate groups, you're really, really fucking up. It's a matter of fact right there. Truly evil, vile, hateful people and their beliefs should have no sense of welcome in your community, whether online or otherwise. They should feel actively unwelcome there, just like I feel actively unwelcome in a lot of places in America. That should be a matter of fact. But how did I know that this person was a white supremacist? I looked through their profile, funny enough, and saw some really heinous shit. I didn't even bother reporting them at the time because, a lot of these people are, they're a dime a dozen online, unfortunately. I'll show you the tweets, but thankfully the account has been suspended, so there we go. That's one for us, I guess, huh? To wrap things up, Actman, I used to really love your content. But since this tweet, I haven't felt like your channel and community was a welcoming place for me to share my love of video games. I do hope you learned something from this, if not directly from me, from one of the many sources in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.